Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano, and a chef on a mission. Today's mission is olive oil, fake olive oil. Yes, you heard me right, fake olive oil. Here's a great story from eatlocalgrown.com. I'm not sure when it's from, but somebody just posted it on Facebook and they put it on my wall and they asked me what I thought about it. And I've known this all along, and it's really a shame what olive oil isn't, because let me read the article. You'd have to live in a cave to not have heard about the health benefits of olive oil. It's a monosaturated fat that is a major component of the Mediterranean diet and is believed to be a factor of why people in that area of the world are some of the healthiest and long-lived. Olive oil has been used medicinally for over 5,000 years. Its health benefits are legendary. It has been found to boost the immune system, increase bone density, prevent cancer, strokes, and heart disease, lower blood pressure, and reduce your risk of diabetes. Now, I know there's a controversy if olive oil is healthy or not. Okay, so if you look at Dr. Clapper, and you look at some of these doctors, they say olive oil, it's refined, it's a refined fat, and it's not. I'm not here to dispute the fact of is it healthy or is it not healthy. I'm reading the article, and because I personally don't consume a lot of olive oil at all. It just happens to be stuff that might be in my food. I don't use it in my salad. I don't really use any oil. So with that being said, let me get back to the article, and then we'll talk about some brands, if you are going to be using olive oil, the brands to use. And if that isn't enough, it seems that olive oil can improve memory and increase overall cognitive function. A large study on 6,000 women over the age of 65 found that women who consume the highest amounts of monounsaturated fats, which can be found in olive oil, had better patterns of cognitive scores over time. But now it looks like the olive oil you trusted to provide you with the health benefits might be fake. Is nothing sacred anymore? First of all, olive oil, or the olive is a fruit. Okay, people don't think of, well, olive is a fruit. You get nut oils, right? So you have peanut oil, and you think of corn oil, and you think of cottonseed oil. So olives are a fruit. The fruit itself is very healthy for you, and there's a lot of things in it. However, once it's extracted, that's where the actual issue or the controversy can come in. All right, so my first thoughts were, how do you make fake olive oil? Who's doing this and why are they doing it? Working backwards, it's pretty easy to guess why. There is money to be made in olive oil forgery. The U.S. alone spends $1.5 billion a year on olive oil. That's insane, $1.5 billion. It might not seem worth the effort to make fake oil, but in one Italian bust alone, authorities broke up a criminal gang sitting on $8 million worth of fake oil. The who might be surprising. Throughout Europe, there are large-scale facilities that pump this stuff out. According to the book Extra Virginity, The Sublime and Scandalous World of Olive Oil, illicit manufacturers slap an Italian flag and name of an imagery producer on the label and dump the stuff off in the U.S. market, where consumers are easy pickings, right? Consumers are easy pickings because you go to the store to buy extra virgin olive oil, and what do you know? You go to the grocery store, you have no clue. But consumers in the U.S. aren't the only victims. Studies done in Australia and New Zealand found that half of their Mediterranean imports were fake too. Anywhere olive oil is in demand is a possible target. How do you fake olive oil? Olive oil can be diluted with poor quality oils, or sometimes there's no real olive oil in it at all. Cheap and unhealthy soy or canola oils are colored with industrial chlorophyll and flavored with artificial flavoring. So that's exactly how it's done. As chefs, we have, and I'm sure they sell in the store too, chefs like to cook with olive oil or butter, but if they're cooking with olive oil, they don't like to cook with it because they like to cook with it, but they don't want to cook with it straight because it's expensive. So a lot of producers actually sell a canola olive oil blend, which is like an 85-15 blend. Maybe it's a 80-20 blend. Who knows exactly what they are specifically, but there are blended olive oils and blended with canola typically, or soy. extra virgin olive oil frauds. The term virgin, when applied to olive oil, doesn't mean quality. There are 4 levels of virgin olive oil. The lowest grade of virgin olive oil is not fit for human consumption and is designated for other uses such as making soap. So those would be like the last pressings of the olive oil, because when you see extra virgin, expeller press, there's something that's called the first pressing, and you can keep pressing the olives and getting other more oil out of it, and different grades of oil coming out of it at that point. Let's see. The top of the line olive oil is extra virgin. This means it's cold pressed, so the temperature during the process hasn't exceeded 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also supposed to meet high standards of acidity and taste. Now, one thing that affects acidity is how long the olives have been picked and how far they've been in transport. So the time that they've been picked to the time that they've been pressed affects the acidity level and the quality of the olive oil. So a lot of these olive oil producers are just huge facilities, and they're buying olives from all over the countryside, all over the country, from wherever, and bringing them in. So at that point, you know, you're not dealing with a farm that's actually taking the oil from the tree itself and then taking it right to a facility and pressing it within an hour or so. You're dealing with maybe a couple of days, who knows how long. So during that time, the olives will start to break down, rancidify, and that's where the lesser qualities of the oil can happen right there. So 86 degrees Fahrenheit is the key temperature for the oil, to keep the oil. Now it's funny because when you buy olive oil or when you use olive oil, they're going through so much lengths to keep it at 86 degrees, but then we take it and throw it into a saute pan and put it at 300, 400, 500 degrees, right? We took something that was taking so much pride at 86 degrees, and we've now, this is a whole nother topic and a whole nother video I can make on this. But once you heat olive oil up, you're destroying the quality of the olive oil. So it doesn't make sense for me. I just don't see enough evidence to use olive oil to cook with olive oil, because that doesn't make sense at all. Independent tests at the University of California found that 69% of all store-bought extra virgin olive oils in the U.S. are probably fake. This study reported that the following brands failed to meet extra virgin olive oil standards. Here are the brands: Bertolli, Carpelli, Colavita, Filippo Barro, Mazzola, Mazzetti, Newman's Own, Safeway, Star, and here's the kicker: Whole Foods. So they're saying that these oils are probably been diluted with another oil, either an inferior olive oil of a different grade, or maybe another oil altogether, or maybe it's just 100% fake and it's soy or canola with added chlorophyll and the flavoring, artificial flavoring. Seeing brands that pride themselves on being healthy and natural, like Newman's Own and Whole Foods, is very disappointing. However, it's very likely that the fault goes back to the supplier. So Whole Foods and Newman's and all these, they're saying they might not purposely be doing this because they're just buying from a co-op, right? They're willing to go out there. Whole Foods and Newman's Own, and any of these companies, they're not making the oil themselves. They're big brokers, and they're just buying it from a facility that's slapping their label on it. Like Whole Foods is not involved in it. Whole Foods is saying, oh, here's a producer that can make it for, $15 a liter, and we're going to sell it for $30 a liter, and it comes from Spain, it comes from Italy, wherever, and just slap our label on it, okay? It's a private label brand. Apparently, the Olive Oyl Mafia has become so adept to their forgeries that even many olive oil experts can't tell real from fake based upon tastes alone. But in my book, that's still no excuse. Companies are responsible for doing their due diligence. That's 100% right. If you're willing to make money, especially if you're a chef, a big brand like that, a grocery store, whatever, a producer, if you're making money and that's your label on it, you're responsible for what's in there. You're the one selling it to the consumer, to the user. It's like a chef. If I'm buying something from a distributor and they're telling me it's wild salmon and I haven't done my due diligence to do research on it, hey, you can come after me because I'm the one that's selling you this, that's charging you this, that you're in my restaurant. So these are their brands, these are their products, these are their stores. Finding the real thing. You naturally want to get what you pay for, which we all do. And if you're paying more for extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, then you care about your health, you don't want to buy diluted, unadulterated junk, Now, not only will fake oil lack benefits, it could actually harm you. 600 people died and nearly 25,000 more were hospitalized by bad oil in Spain. Interesting, and they make a notation. I'll put the link in the beginning of this YouTube description so you can follow the article. While it's highly unusual, you get the point, right? So yeah, that is highly unusual, but you never know what they're putting in there. You never know the reactions. You know, you put peanut oil in something, you don't tell them it's peanut oil, and somebody has anaphylactic shock, you can have trouble. Or soy, or canola, or something they're allergic to. And a lot of these oils, they use lots of chemicals to grow these things, especially cottonseed oil. So if they're taking cottonseed oil and adding chlorophyll and an artificial flavoring, then, you know, cottonseed oil is loaded. It's one of the most heavily sprayed crops out there. A test you can try on any olive oil you currently have is to stick it in the fridge and see if it solidifies. If it doesn't, you definitely don't have olive oil. So olive oil does become hard, not really hard, but it solidifies in the refrigerator. And I've noticed over the years of cooking in some restaurants that sometimes oils don't solidify in the restaurants, and sometimes they do. And a lot of chefs don't like to use olive oil in dressings because it solidifies in the dressings in the refrigerator. So just FYI, not all salad dressing at restaurants is coming from olive oil. In fact, not much at all. Most restaurants I've worked at in the past have actually shunned away from using olive oil because of the fact that it solidifies. And you put it in a squirt bottle, you want to get it out into the salad, it doesn't work well. A taste, okay, if it does mean you have olive oil turning solid, will tell you that you have a mostly mono unsaturated oil, but it won't rule out whether it's sunflower, safflower, or canola oils have been added. It won't reveal if your olive oil has been tainted with chemicals, flavorings, or colorings either. The same University of California study listed the following brands as having met their standards for being true extra virgin olive oil. So here are the good brands: Corto Olive, California Ranch, which is what I use in my restaurant. I've been using California Ranch for years. I love them. They're out of California, Northern California, all American, awesome job. Kirkland Organic, Lucero, McVoy Ranch Organic, and Pompeian. In the September 2012 issue, Consumer Reports published results of their taste test of 138 bottles of extra virgin olive oil from 23 manufacturers. The olive oil was scored in a variety of countries, including U.S., Argentina, Greece, Chile, and Italy. The following findings was that those produced in California surpassed those from Italy. And the two highest scoring olive oils were McVoy Ranch and Trader Joe's California Estate, both from California. That is incredible. That the California olive oils have beat out the Italian. You know, it's saying Italians are 5,000-year-old history of making olive oil, but the problem is we're not, because it's such a big product. They're produced in massive facilities. So when you're talking about California producers, they might have co-ops. They might not be growing the olives themselves, but it's a much smaller area that they're growing them in, and it's much more care taken into putting them. When you're buying these huge, you have to wonder why that, like, some of these national brands, that every single grocery store across America stocks a pallet of them at a time. It's like, well, where in the world are you getting that much oil from, and how is it getting produced in one facility? Okay, light bulb has to pop up and say, wow, this is a massive facility that they're just doing whatever to make olive oil to mass produce for the whole country at one time, as opposed to California could never ever keep up the production of that. So the producers are much smaller. Okay, now really the one country that makes the most smallest handcrafted olive oils is France. But after severe freezing in the 30s, most of the producers went out of business and they didn't want to use French olives anymore for olive oil. So what happens in France is they're all estate grown. So you have a small little ranch, small little farm, growing the olives and making the olive oil. So it's right there, everything's being done on the same estate, on the same ranch, on the same farm, just like just like estate wine, where they grow the grapes and they make the wine on site. So the same exact process. So California is a much smaller producer. They take much more care. They have smaller companies, and the Italian, the Spanish, the whole Greek, the whole Mediterranean market is just filled with these massive conglomerates that are just pumping insane amounts of olive oil to cover olive oil to be in every store across America and New Zealand and wherever else they're going, Australia, and across the whole world basically that uses olive oil. Parts of the world use olive oil. They're just pumping out massive amounts. So that's why all those big brands, I think, were on that list. Not saying that you can't get a good big brand, or you're not saying that you can't get good Italian stuff, but I find it no coincidence that the California olive oils beat out the Italian olive oils overall. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Go to my foodfraud.com website where this article will be posted, this video will be posted, and you can see a bunch of other things that restaurants and producers and other things that might be fraudulent in the food that you're eating. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching this video. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.